But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Here's Johnny.
Excuse me? A baking powder?
I want the fairy tale.
Donkey!
Scusa.
What became of your lamb, Clarice?
You lose. Good day, sir.
Attitude reflect leadership, Captain.
Because once a wildcat, always a wildcat.
I am inevitable.
What is up, guys? Dirty Boot Sports, and we are back with another episode from the regulars. Just me and Aston yet again tonight, recording back to back. I think this episode's going out first, though. So yeah, check out this, and then next week or sometime, or just check out the podcast, subscribe, download, do all that fun stuff. Share the links. This is going to be another expert opinions list. We did one back in November or something like that. I mean, we've done a couple. What was my first one on sitcoms? Yeah, sitcoms. We did comics. We did TV dramas. We just did Superman for Aston. That'll come out. I think I'm intending on dropping that Monday, something like that. Kind of space out the content a little bit. But this is going to be on basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport. Not really. I think football's my favorite sport. But I like basketball. To me is just like, I don't know. I'm sure I'll answer that question later. But it's basketball. I have a list of very. I have a lot of things I'm very passionate about, and I've discovered that lately that I think I have more than the common person. Because we're talking about doing the dozen. We got some ideas cooking up for some little trivia games and stuff like that, and I think it's I'm going to make that happen because I'm very excited for it, and I love trivia, and I think the Jeopardy stuff is like some of the best stuff we do. And I think the dozen will be very good, and I'm very passionate about the dozen. But whenever I'm making the list of my 12 like niche categories, I'm like, I can go all day long. And then you're like, I was kind of struggling. Chances like I don't even know where to start.
Well, I got the 10 with confidence, and then after that, I was thinking like I had a bunch of other stuff, but my thought process was, what's the hardest question you could possibly ask about it, and will I know it? And I was like, I don't know. Like if I put Guy Fieri TV shows on there, and you ask who won this random episode, I'm not gonna know that. Like that's the kind of stuff I was trying to consider, and I was like, oh, I can't pick that.
God, I'm excited to see how I do writing these questions, because if I write them well, then I think will try to take that leap to writing some type of Jeopardy. I don't really know how we'll do that. Maybe we'll do like a general Jeopardy, and it's you versus Hunter and Chance together or something. Like, I don't know, make them a super team. Versus you, who will win. But yeah, I've got a lot of stuff that I'm passionate about. And I don't know how deep I could talk about them, but I mean, rom-coms, Apatow, Freaks and Geeks, rap music, Olivia Rodrigo, High School Musical. I mean, there's so much stuff. Basketball, any basketball, baseball, football. It's gonna be fun. The dozen's gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun to just talk about some hoops. March Madness begins. Well, it began yesterday technically, but it's the first forward. It ain't the real one. Shout out Graham fam today. Big win. Grambling advances into the real tournament today. They'll play Friday night against Purdue. That'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, the real March Madness begins tomorrow, Thursday. I think that's when I'm going to put this episode out, hopefully. And yeah, I told Aston we're like putting out content. Our Wednesday night regular sports pod didn't go as planned, so I was like, let's just record. Let's just get on Zoom and talk out some crap. And he's like, I can write some basketball questions, and here we are. So let's get into this. I'm anxious to see where this is about to go.
Well, we'll start kind of the same way we started mine a while ago. What made you start loving basketball?
Ooh, huh. I have no preparation for this. So it's gonna probably take me a while to answer all these questions. Um, first memories. I mean, I played basketball, played upward in the church league. I don't think I ever played rec. I played upward the church league. Uh, that was crap. When did I start that? 7 maybe. From like 7 to 12, somewhere around there. Loved that. I mean, basketball was it was just fun. Like I enjoyed playing it. I was taller than everybody. So that was fun in itself. But the passion of loving watching it probably comes from I'm trying to think the first games I remember watching. I mean, 2008 Boston Celtics. That's one of the first teams I remember watching and like fully being like, this is my team. Like I love this. Which oddly enough, I despise the Celtics now. And when the Warriors won their last ring in 2022, it was like I was rooting as hard against the Celtics as I could. But I mean, just different players, different eras, different decades. But 2008 probably is around the time. 2008 was the Celtics. 2009 was North Carolina college basketball, in which it was a freaking random night in March or February, and Chance was probably 13, 14, something like that, and he was watching Duke, so he kind of had a better understanding of basketball. And I'm like, hey, I want to be the little brother that's a pain in the butt and root against my brother's team and root for the other team. And I rooted for North Carolina, and I looked up on the internet who's North Carolina's best player. It was Tyler Hansbrough. We made a white T-shirt jersey with Sharpie, wrote North Carolina 50 Hansborough. Still have that in my closet, actually. So that was 2009. Celtics won a championship in 08. North Carolina won a championship in 09. I was the biggest freaking bandwagon on earth, but I wasn't even 10 yet. Who gives a crap? Let me be a kid. I guess just kind of from then it just naturally happened. But what was it? What was the wording of the question? Was it when did I fall in love or start to like?
When did you start loving basketball?
Love was.
Oh no, it was what made you start loving basketball.
Okay, that was my introduction to basketball. What made me love it was probably, I mean, watching North Carolina win a championship in 09 was awesome, but at the same time I was only like 9. Probably 2012. And it's going back to North Carolina. They played Kentucky in the Elite Eight, I believe, of March Madness. And the UNC winning the championship in 09 kind of springboarded my love for it, where I just kind of was like, I'm gonna start enjoying this, but still, I mean, as a 10-year-old, how much basketball can you really watch and enjoy? I got down to, I mean, I was about 12 at the time, and I started watching as much North Carolina as possible. Like if they were on TV on a random Wednesday night, I would watch it. But March Madness, of course, every game you're going to sit down and watch, especially if it's your team. But that was the first time I remember being like truly pissed at a game and like devastated that my team lost, was that 2012 game against Kentucky, where, I mean, we had Harrison Barnes was my favorite player, Tyler Zeller, John Henson, Kendall Marshall, like so many great players that all ended up going to the NBA and becoming lottery picks. But Harrison Barnes was my guy, and seeing him not, get that championship like the guys in 09 did for North Carolina, it kind of made me obviously mad and like upset, because like he's one of my favorite players on my favorite team. I want him to do it all. But that's whenever I've made the vow, I'm like, wherever he goes, I go. So whenever he went to the NBA, went to the Warriors, and the rest is freaking history. So yeah, after that 2012 draft, it's been love. But I think 2012 March Madness was when I started my love, I would say. Long answer.
No, that's the answer I was looking for that. Was something like that.
It's cool because like no one ever asked me this stuff. So this is fun to like sit and think about.
That's why I wanted to do these kind of things, especially when it's stuff that like you talk to about people, but you don't talk about it like this.
Yeah.
So you never get these kind of questions.
I mean, it's like you're getting interviewed on something that you're passionate about, but it's a common passion with everyone in the world, essentially. Like everyone loves Superman, everyone loves basketball. Like, or not everyone, but many millions of people do. Like,
Yeah.
But we're the ones that getting asked about our stuff. So like we're giving our viewpoints. And I mean, yeah, I've told the freaking Harrison Barnes draft story probably legit 5 or 10 times on the podcast in 370 episodes or whatever the crap we've done. And I told the story to Cash when we did the episode with him, just because like whenever someone says, "Oh, you're a Warriors fan. How'd you become a Warriors fan? You're a bandwagon." And I was like, "No." But so every new person that we meet, I pretty much have to tell my story, and it's always ends with like, "Oh wow, you're an actual fan." I'm like, "Yes, I am. Thank you." What's next?
All right. Well, after I literally just said the thing about getting asked questions that you don't normally get asked, and it's like the most basic basketball question ever. MJ or LeBron?
Oh, I think we're actually going to ask this question in April. In April, we're going to do the Fast Break All-Star Game stuff. We're going to go film some content there with all the All-Stars, and I think this is one of the questions. I don't know if you've seen the videos on TikTok where like guys go up and they do it to these baseball players. I have no understand how they get field access to every freaking MLB stadium, but they do it. They go and ask these players like random questions like that, and I think we're going to do that. We're going to ask these elite seniors in high school in Louisiana, MJ or LeBron. I'm very interested to see the outcome. To me, I never fully got MJ's greatness until The Last Dance when that came out during COVID. Watching that like made me truly appreciate it. I think I have a Michael Jordan pop after that because like I was like, MJ's freaking awesome. The Last Dance was awesome. Give me that. Oddly enough, he's a North Carolina guy. I should love him more than I do, but I didn't watch him. So like I was whenever he retired, I was 1. I think he retired in 01, maybe 03. So I might have been 3. Regardless, way too young. Didn't watch his prime in the 90s. I appreciate him. I appreciate what he did for basketball and his legacy, but to me, I think LeBron's just a special specimen. He I think he's my goat. And it pains me to say that because I think Saturday night was Steph and LeBron's 50th matchup against each other. I think that's third most all time, like between players. So like I've been to war against this man for 10 years. Like I've been through the pain, and LeBron, yeah, we beat him 3 of the 4 times in the finals, but my God, the man was the best player on the floor. Like, yes, I love Steph, but LeBron was better. LeBron I think is, how do I word this? MJ's a better pure scorer, but I think LeBron does almost every other aspect of the game better. MJ, you can give him the leverage on defense, but I mean 6'5", 6'6", 220-pound MJ or whatever he is compared to 6'8", 250 LeBron. I think they have different roles. I would go LeBron. One thing that I think kind of gets over hated, I guess you could word it, for LeBron is whenever an MJ fan is defending MJ versus LeBron, they always go to the rings. MJ has 6 rings. LeBron only has 4.
I've heard this many times over.
But MJ is 6-0. LeBron is 4-6. LeBron made it to the finals 10 times. MJ only made it 6. MJ played 15 years, 16, somewhere around 15. So he missed the finals 9+ times. LeBron's in his 21st season. He's made the finals 10 times. He hasn't made them since 2020. So in 2020, he was at probably, I think, 10 finals in 17 years, which is absurd. And I think that's the stupidest thing. That's the stupidest argument to me from MJ's perspective is, oh, but LeBron lost 6 times in the finals. Yeah, but MJ lost more times before the finals. Like they make it seem as if LeBron getting to the finals and winning. What do you win? You win 12 games to get to the finals. LeBron winning 12 games and then losing in the finals is worse than MJ losing in the first round. And crap, MJ I think also played in an era where the playoffs were a little bit shorter. I think he played in 5-game series, which LeBron's been playing in 7 games his whole life. I don't think he's ever lost in the first round. LeBron's played so much freaking basketball, and he's in a category that will never be touched. Give me LeBron. Give me LeBron. 10 finals is insane. That's just.
There was a 30, maybe 45-minute long argument about that at work last week.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 weeks ago.
The finals, man, that's just yeah, 6 is greater than 4, but yeah, 10's greater than 6. Oh well. Oh, but LeBron shouldn't have lost 6 times. MJ shouldn't have lost 9 times before. Come on. LeBron played 6 more years. Oh well, he's a freak athlete. He's gonna play 2 more probably.
All right. I gotta figure out how I want to phrase this. I might just have to ask you 2 similar questions. If Steph left the Warriors, would you still be a Warriors fan, or would you follow wherever Curry goes?
I'm a Warriors fan to the day I die. I've said that.
Would you root against him in a finals game if it was Warriors versus whatever team Curry's on?
Yeah. If I'm a Warriors fan and he goes to Charlotte, which is his hometown, his dad played there. That if he ever plays anywhere besides Golden State, it will be Charlotte for a year. But yeah. I mean, Steph's my favorite athlete of all time. We actually did that recently on the podcast. We did our Dirty Dozen favorite athletes, and mine went Steph, Jackie Robinson, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. So Steph being above Jackie's pretty freaking insane. And I think Harrison Barnes is 7 on that. So three or 4 Warriors or former Warriors. Very high on that list. But yeah, I've reached to the point of fandom where for so long, I became a North Carolina fan because of Tyler Hansbrough. Yes, I root for North Carolina, but it's not a deep passion to me because college basketball is just not the best of products all year round. It's awesome in March, but I'm not going to watch a November game and sweat it out because it doesn't matter, essentially. And with the NFL, I don't necessarily have that team. I like the Saints, yes. I like the Browns, yes. But I don't have that team where the Saints are the closest one to where if we make the playoffs and we lose, I'm gonna be hurt. But at the same time, I'm gonna watch the next round and watch whatever other teams are in it and enjoy it because I love football and I just love a lot of players. The Warriors, though, I've reached to the point of whatever happens to this team, whenever inevitably Steph, Dre, and Klay retire, which is probably going to be in the next 5 years at most, I'm with this team forever. And I think that's what makes me it makes me almost. I'm not excited for the future because I'm going to cherish every freaking year and game that we get out of these 3 as possible. But I'm kind of excited to see my loyalty with a different era, I guess you could say, because I've been spoiled as a fan. I became a fan in 2012, 2015, or no, 2012/13 season, 2015 in the 14/15 season, we won a championship. We made it the next year. 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 Yeah, we made 5 straight. We took 2 years off. We won another. Like we went to 6 finals in 8 years. I was watching basketball from October to June, and it's something that will never happen again. It might happen again, but it'll be a long time. Will it ever happen to my team again? No, it won't. But I think, and within that, I've had years of, the 2020 season, the COVID shortened season, that one, Steph was hurt, Clay was hurt, Draymond had been hurt kind of some. Like the top players were hurt, and we sucked. We won like 15 games. Yet I tuned in to 90% of the games and watched them lose. Like I think that's kind of been at the point where like I feel like my loyalty is fully true. And another way to look at that is Harrison Barnes was the reason that I became a Warriors fan. In 2015, we got the ring with him. He won that. 2016, we lost the finals to LeBron. Harrison Barnes being a big reason why, because he went like 6 for 32 from 3 or something like ridiculous. Like legit was a very big reason why we lost the finals. My favorite player, my reason that I love this team. And then he leaves the team that season because we get Kevin Durant. Whenever he left that team, he went to Dallas. I rooted for Dallas. But that next season, I watched every Warriors game. The next year, I watched every Warriors game. When he was gone, I still rooted for my team. And that right there, that was the moment where I'm like, yeah, this is a lifetime thing now. And there's no better feeling. There really isn't. Like it's awesome. Like, because I'm at the point of my life where it's like, with whatever, I'm here for it, and it's probably going to lead to a lot of pain, but I'm excited. I'm excited to not start a season and be like, we're going to the finals. Am I going to think that for the next 5 years? Probably still, yes, but I'm excited for like the inevitable losses when I want us to be normal. I guess I want to be a normal fan. Yeah, I'll root for Steph wherever he goes, if he goes anywhere, but please God, don't let him. What's part 2 of that?
I didn't have to. I wasn't sure how I was going to phrase it, but it worked how I said it. Let's go. Okay. Here's an interesting one I came up with. Do you have a favorite game that you watched live?
In person or at home on my TV?
At home or in person, doesn't matter. But just one that you were like watching as it happened. Your favorite, if you have one.
Yeah. There's all right, so it's interesting because there's a couple that come to my mind. One being the 2016 Western Conference Finals, Game 6 versus the Thunder. That was when Klay Thompson went for God knows how many points, like 30, 45, somewhere around there. Made like 11 threes, like set playoff records. That's when Game 6 Klay became a thing, was that game. I remember Chance was gone because Chance was like on a date or something that night. I was watching it at home. I remember watching that game and standing at the TV screaming because we're losing. We won 73 games that year. We broke the NBA record, and we're not even gonna make the finals. But that moment, like whenever Klay put us on his back and saved us, and we extended the series, we took it to Game 7. Like I remember everything about that game and like that moment of. I remember going to my mom and telling her like, we freaking did it. We're playing another one. Like we're gonna do this. Like we're alive. Like we're gonna do this. So that one definitely sticks out. But it kind of sucks because we didn't win a championship after it. We ended up going to the finals and losing in 7. And oddly enough, that finals game 7, I have a very, very vivid memory of as well, even though it's probably the most painful loss I've ever had in my life. Because like I remember the hours after that game of me just being distraught. But I remember, I mean, we ordered Pizza Hut. We ate it with me, Chance, and my cousin Gunner. We all ate that at my house. I remember standing up in the fourth quarter and standing behind my living room love seat and watching the game. That was, I remember everything about it. But I think the favorite to me now, after those moments and like knowing how that season ended, probably is the 2022 finals. The getting that final, getting that 4th ring. I remember everything about that because, like, I mean, it'd been 2 years of pain. Steph getting hurt in 2020, the freaking COVID happening, Clay tearing his ACL in the 2019 finals, Clay tearing his Achilles during the draft the next year, or right before the draft, the news broke at least. I mean, Clay missed 2.5 years of basketball. Yet I never wavered. Like I was still a fan through thick and thin. The year in between that, when we lost in the play-in round to the Grizzlies and the Lakers, like I remember watching those games and being devastated, but knowing like next year we can do it. That 2022 finals though was in Vegas the year before. Placed a future on it, $25 to win like 250. Like months in advance, literally 11 months in advance of the finals.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember you telling us about that.
Had the podcast during that finals. So like we also, that was also the finals during the church trip where I was wearing my uniform during the prayer session during game 1 of the finals, and we had to turn off our phones because we were doing a freaking lesson. I thought about this the other day. I'm like, I really sat like in full uniform and didn't watch the first half of that game because we were getting freaking preached to, like, and it didn't turn out well. We ended up losing that game. But that whole finals was fun because, like, not only was it us having the journey back and like finally achieving the moment that I knew we would get to again, and the first time of us having it since 2018. But the podcast was a very fun moment of that because, like, the first episode of the entire podcast, I introduced myself as Clay Warriors fan of the Western Conference champion Warriors. So we had just clinched a final spot like the night before, I think. So the first 8 episodes of the podcast are me pretty much going game by game of the journey of the Warriors. So that was fun. And then immediately after, me and Chance went to the dining room and recorded like an immediate reaction for me. I just did a freaking thumbs up emoji. We did like an immediate reaction of like 40 minutes of me just talking about the Warriors and talking about that season. It's still my pinned Facebook post on Facebook, like me saying, come check out our podcast. I think it's like episode 6. And like whenever we won it, all the guys were texting the group message, get Clay a mic, get Clay a mic. Chance like I'm doing it. So like just having, and I'll always have that to look back on. Like I can always go and listen to that episode and be like, that was my feelings that night. I've got video of me watching the last minute and a half of that game. I think Harley videoed it, like, and just so much about that championship was special. I mean, I cried when we clinched the conference finals. Like whenever we got back to the finals, I cried some tears that night when we won it. It was just, Steph cried, so that made it even more because like Steph didn't cry during the first 3. But seeing him finally get that finals MVP, it was a special one. Yeah, that game is probably my favorite though. Like knowing that, it kind of goes back to the fandom thing of like, are you going to be a Warriors fan forever? Like yeah, that was kind of that moment where like I could have became a Bucks fan, a Celtics fan, a Lakers fan, any of the other teams that succeeded during that 2-3 year gap of us kind of underachieving. I could have rooted for any other team. I could have kind of gained a new love for a team or something, but I didn't. I watched my team go through the downs and get back up to that mountaintop. So I think that was the game. It's like June 16th, 2022, maybe something like that, somewhere around there. Long answer. I love this.
All right, here's a fun one. Who has the coolest nickname in NBA history?
I like that. One immediately that you got to mention is Magic, for Magic Johnson, just because no one even remembers his freaking real name. No one thinks of him as Irvin, like Magic. And he's also like, it fits his play style so well. He was a point guard that was for the Showtime Lakers, like that they did I guess you could say experimental, like different things during the 80s and stuff. Like what he did was different for basketball back then, and it was like Magic. Magic's a very cool one. White Chocolate's a very cool one for Jason Williams, because he was a different kind of white guy. He had handles, he could pass, that's one of Stacey's favorite players. He sends us a white chocolate clip on TikTok like probably once a week at least. Who else? Charles Barkley has some funny ones. The round mound of rebound, because he was like 6'6", 270, and just undersized but a fat boy. Allen Iverson being the answer is very cool. We did a draft of this in the first 20 episodes, probably, of the podcast. We did a draft of best nicknames. Let me see if I've got that list real quick. Magic is one that's just it sticks out. Let me see. Yep, I found my list. Let me see. Magic, White Chocolate, Black Mamba for Kobe. That's a great one. Pistol Pete, that's a cool one. Dr. J. What else do we have in here? AK-47's a good one for Andrei Kirilenko, a Russian that wore number 47. Oh, that's a funny one. So that you don't really have anyone else that can pull off that name. Swaggy P, that's a fun one for one of my favorite players. Nick Young. Steph has like the baby-faced assassin, but he don't really go by that anymore because he's got a freaking beard. Magic's probably just the coolest though, just because like when it's like Tiger, which I think was another first round pick of that draft. Like whenever your nickname becomes so good that it's just your name, like it becomes like you're not Irvin anymore. You're Magic, and I think that's probably just the best. And at the same time, it also fit his play style and everything so well. So give me Magic.
All right. I know one of the ones you're gonna say for this. Let's see who I'm interested in seeing who else you'll say. Who do you think are the best duos or trios in basketball?
Today or all time? All time. Duos, MJ and Scotty, Kobe and Shaq. Trying to think of other duos. I mean, those two are pretty hard to beat there. MJ and Scotty got 6 rings. MJ and Shaq got a 3-peat, which is insanely rare. Other duos. Man, it's really hard to get past those two. Trios, I mean, obviously Steph, Clay, Dre. That'll be my number one. Objectively though, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, they had 5 rings together. They played 20 seasons together, 19 seasons, 18 seasons, something like that, all for the Spurs. They're Steph, Clay, and Dre before Steph, Clay, and Dre. So you've got to show them respect. Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett in Boston. That was like the first super team. That was the team that I first loved basketball for. So I liked them. I mean, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh in Miami. Can't forget them. Trying to think of some other ones. And then there's some older ones like Magic, James Worthy, and Kareem, maybe something like that. But I obviously don't know as much about them. But I mean, it's going to be hard to top my big three. Steph, Clay, and Dre. I've got the picture of them has been my laptop background since I've gotten a laptop. And it's not even like, if you look them up, you don't even see this picture probably. Like it's not even a really known one. But it's iconic to me because it's from that 2016 season where like they're just it's during the season that just is special to me, and I remember watching every freaking moment of it. They're wearing these ugly black jerseys that people hated, but I loved them because they freaking wore them. Like Steph looks so young. It's got Draymond with his arms around him, kind of just being the emotional leader that he is. Like so much about them three is just so freaking important to me. If I ever get a tattoo, something I've never really said, but I've had just internal thoughts before as I'm watching these three people play basketball and just in love. Like if I ever get a tattoo, it'll be their three numbers, I think. 30, 23, and 11 in that order. 23 in the middle. If I don't know where, maybe like on my wrist or something like that or something, I don't know, but I think that'd be pretty cool. But I would never do that until one of them retires, because I'd feel like I'd bring bad juju to the team if I mess up something. I'm too superstitious. If I got that tattoo, one would get traded or someone would get hurt, we'd lose something bad. Something bad would happen if I did that. So I'll wait till one retires or one leaves the team before I do that. But yeah, that's a thought I've had. It'll probably happen just because I love them freaking dudes so much. They've given me so much joy over the past decade plus. Yeah, that's probably the answers there. MJ and Scotty, Shaq and Kobe, and then Warriors big three, Celtics, Spurs, Heat. It probably covers it. I mean, you can also throw Rodman in with MJ and Scotty for another big three. Yeah.
All right. I've seen some people talk about this before, about how the game is different from how it used to be played.
Yeah.
So
it's a big it's a big talking point nowadays, or the past couple weeks.
Do you think it's better or worse for like the sport?
So
nowadays
one of the main
before?
things that people talk about is that there's no defense. That's been, I mean, if you looked at statistics, it's true. There's more scoring. There's more foul calls. There's more free throws. There's way more 3-pointers. Thank you, Steph Curry. But I think like it's something that I say and people say to the people that are complaining, and they just kind of laugh at it or say something else. I think we're just in a more skilled era of basketball. I think everyone's just better. Like back in the 80s and the 70s and stuff like that, people didn't take care of their bodies the way that they do now. Like, I mean, one of the best players of all time, John Stockton. He's a 6 foot, 200-pound white boy from like freaking Idaho. He has the assist record, he has the steals record, and probably neither of them will get broken. Like he was that good, but he didn't he didn't work out like physical and become a physical specimen that so many of these guys are. Like if you compared them to, I mean, just bench guys nowadays, you would look at the bench guys nowadays and be like, that dude's an athlete, this other guy's not. You don't really have that anymore. Like you don't have the I guess normal folk anymore in today's leagues. And I saw a clip earlier actually of a layup that a player Jalen Green for the Rockets did. Who he got drafted like second overall. He's been a good player, fun player, but nothing like he's won nothing. He's kind of young still. He has potential. He did a layup that he went up, faked it right, put it all the way down to his freaking ankles, and went up left, all while in the air because he's in the air for 20 seconds because he's got ridiculous hang time. It was insanely impressive, and as they've said, no one's going to talk about this tomorrow because it's just like, oh yeah, that happens. While MJ, one of the most played clips for him is him doing the same thing, but half as impressive, yet it still gets talked about today of, oh my God, MJ could do that. MJ's the best. People are just different now. Like it's as simple as that. Like athletes are just different. And people are just they're just more skilled. They really freaking are. Maybe it's because of, you know, the people nowadays getting in the NBA in the Steph era of like, we're going to work on our 3-point game and we're going to work on being ball handlers. And I mean, the 7-footers, for instance, nowadays, if you had a 7-footer in the 80s, he's going to stand his butt in the paint. He's going to block shots. He's going to dunk. He's going to be a big man. Nowadays, you'll have a 7-footer. I mean, my God, we got the 7'4" freak from France, Wembanyama, who will dribble the ball down the court and Monstar dunk over your face. Then he'll do a step back 3 on you and take your ankles. Like he's an alien. There's no other way to describe this man and the stuff that he does. And it's becoming natural, like, and normal. Like the stuff that we're starting to see from big men it's different and it's becoming the norm for us. But in the 80s and the crap in the 90s, some of these guys would be just, it would legit be like an alien. Like that's how different of a game it is. To me, it's fun. It's a fun difference. Are there concerns? Yeah. Like you've got to have more defense and like you've got to have less fouls. You've got to make the game more competitive. But at the same time, you don't want to slow it down too much to where defense becomes king again, because at the end of the day, offense is what draws people in. I think most of all, and it takes it a little bit away from basketball in itself, but most of all, what drives people away from the NBA nowadays is politics. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with the actual game itself. It's politics. Then I fully believe that, because people can't like say with a straight face like the games nowadays aren't entertaining or they don't try hard enough, crap like that. Watch basketball whenever it matters in April and in May. See if them dudes try, and they try, and it's insanely impressive. But the NBA is more outspoken. Sports are now more outspoken. We're in a new era of life, and the NBA is a little bit more advanced of that than other sports. And that is honestly, to me, what I think gets people away from basketball is just the politics. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? It depends on what you believe. But yeah, that's the bigger thing than the offense or defense to me, is just that people were outspoken.
I've got three left, but one of them is the one that Chance sent, which is basically the same as the first thing I asked you.
What is it?
The one about what do you love about basketball, which is, I guess that's a little different than what made you start loving basketball.
What do I love about it? I mean, I won't go too long on that. Yeah, but I mean, I've went deep into my love enough. Probably just, I like the way they dribble up and down the court. I don't know. That's a tough one to think about. The teamwork, I guess you could say. There's really no in baseball. If a ball's hit to the shortstop gets it and throws it to first, and that's the play. Or maybe it hits to the third baseman, and the third baseman throws it to second, and the second baseman throws it to first, and you got three or four people involved. With basketball, it's five guys on the court that individually impact each play every single time. There's no playoff. In football, you can be a wide receiver, and during that run play, you can, and especially nowadays, you'll see people literally just stand there and do absolutely nothing for that play. Yet that running back might run the opposite side of the field and go 90 yards for a touchdown, and that receiver didn't do much then. In baseball, you can stand in left field and literally not have a ball hit to you the entire game, yet your team wins and you succeed. With basketball, if you go stand in the corner and do nothing, it's going to affect your team negatively. Like you're gonna be picked out. If you're a weak link on a basketball court, you will be hunted and you will be picked on in a way that I don't think other sports have that ability to. I mean, I've seen it so much with the Warriors, like especially with Draymond Green and Steph. They're so smart and they're so like if Draymond's playing the small ball five, playing the center role, and he's going up against, and he's got a 7 foot, 250-pound Serbian guarding him. He'll come up and set a pick for Steph, who's 6'3", 185, and make the Serbian switch on to Steph. And the dude's 7 foot, 250. He can't guard Steph. Steph's quicker. Steph does moves that this dude can't react to in time. It's just different for Steph in that moment, and he picks out that weak link and he attacks it. And that's something that, yes, in football, if you're one of your three linebackers is a little bit worse than the others, you can run that side, but your other guys are going to help you out so much that it's hard to just fully go after that. If you're a bad fielder in left field, you can try to hit that ball that way, but my God, it's just hard enough to hit the ball. It's very interesting there, and it's so fast paced to where, like, if you make that one slight mistake, you're done, and you just get picked on, and it's fun, never boring. I mean, you can watch a 2.5 hour game, 3 hour game, and it'd be constant pace besides the commercials. And I mean, and also you can talk about the college game. March Madness is freaking beautiful. Not even much else to say about that. Tomorrow and Friday we get 16 games of people with their freaking season on the line. It's beautiful. People are going to fight their freaking hearts out, and yeah, I think what separates it the most to me is just like, and it's funny because so many people say that basketball has the least amount of strategy, because I mean, in football each play is called, like they call in a play. Baseball, there's shifts, there's a pitcher calling this pitch, all that. With basketball, it's so fast paced. People say that strategy doesn't come involved, but it's the little things that I think kind of just get blown by, that there's so much more strategy to it than people think. And
yeah,
I've watched it for so long, and like watched the best team for so long. I mean, what the Warriors have done offensively for so long has been different and like groundbreaking. I've watched it so long where like I'm watching the game and I'm like, yeah, that's gonna happen. Like he's gonna roll around the screen that way. Boom, you're getting picked on. Like just little stuff like that. It's just fun to me.
Yeah.
And
I think basketball is definitely more like the strategy is more on the fly
yeah,
versus
absolutely. You've got to think on
versus
your feet.
football when you're calling the plays beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people people talk about Kyrie being like one of the most skilled players ever and stuff. And I mean, crap, he had an incredible shot, I believe, Sunday. Uh,
Oh,
that
I know what you're talking about. I saw that clip.
the lefty shot from 20 feet out above the free throw line over a 7-footer. It was
Yeah.
insane. I'm not even a Kyrie fan, but my God, I can appreciate that. But for him to get the ball, know what the time is, because in football, if the time runs out, you can run around for 30 minutes and it doesn't matter because the play is still happening. But in basketball, you got to put that ball up. For him to just get the ball and, for one, know the timing, two, know who is on him, what that guy's skill set is, three, know how many dribbles you can take without looking at that clock and like pacing yourself to have the ability to throw it up at this time. To, my God, go with the left hand, your off hand. Like, he's not even a lefty, he's a righty. To just have the confidence to do that, and there's so much to it. And yeah, it's on the fly, but like I don't think people appreciate that enough, especially from like guards. Like, the ability to do some of that stuff is just insane.
Yeah.
Steph Curry just hit his 300th three this season. Boom.
All right, I'm gonna go one last question. This is the most interesting one I came up with. I'm not quite sure how you're gonna answer this. If this is the most me basketball question there could be, if Steph was a superhero, who would he be?
Ooh. Let me think. Uh, It's funny enough, we played when was this? 2021?
I think I know
2021 in like April, we had a superhero game that was a superhero broadcast, and it was the Warriors versus the Pelicans. I don't think Steph played in it. I think he was hurt. But Draymond played in it, and he won like MVP or whatever. And I think he was called the Hulk, because he had like a double without points.
Sounds right for his
anger. Yeah. Getting pissed off, and yeah. I got an alert earlier that he got into an altercation tonight. If Steph was a superhero, I'm trying with Superman. I don't know. I don't know if he'd be Superman. Probably Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, he's my favorite superhero, but I think that might make the most sense here. I mean, for one, off the court, he's just like one of the most likable celebrities and athletes ever, in my opinion. And I think Spider-Man's a pretty likable guy and like relatable guy, to the common folk. I mean, as we talked about on the last pod and with a future pod for listeners, I mean, like Spider-Man, you grow up and you're like, I can be him. Like you that's what your whole life has been, is like, I can be Superman. I can be Spider-Man. With Steph is so different from, I mean, if you look at a list of, if you ask somebody their top 10 players and Steph is included, every other player he's going to be included with is at least 6'6", at least 200 pounds. Steph's 6'3", 185. Steph is the guy that you can look at on the screen and you're like, I'm him. I can be what Steph is. I can do what Steph does. And that alone is why the game of basketball has changed so much, is because kids all across the freaking world are seeing, oh, Steph is so good and Steph can shoot threes. Maybe I can grow up and be 6 foot and I can shoot threes like Steph. And I think he's relatable in that aspect to Spider-Man. Is like, Spider-Man is he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's the most relatable superhero. Do you agree with that? Spider-Man is?
Probably, yeah.
And that is the number one thing about Steph and his legacy, is like, he's the most relatable guy there is, because even other all-time greats that are around the 6 foot range, Allen Iverson, who's another one of the more influential people onto the game of basketball. Like Steph and AI are probably two of the top 3 or 4. But what AI did, AI was 6 foot, probably 170, but he had an ungodly skill of handles. Like he was dribbling in ways that not many people on earth ever have. And he also could dunk a little bit. He would play a little bit physical. He wasn't just relying on shooting. With Steph, he's in an average person's body. He's shooting the ball from long distance. He's not playing physical. He plays physical a little bit, but it's in an underrated way, and like not a way that jumps off the screen. And yeah, he's everyone watching. That's the thing about him. He's not 6'8", 250 like LeBron. He's not 7'4" like Victor Wembanyama. And I think that's what makes. I mean, whenever you watch a Spider-Man movie, it's like I can be him. I can be a teenager that gets bit by a spider and has a teenage crush that you can't get with, and you've got confidence issues, and you've got all this stuff. He's a nerd at school. He gets picked on. But one day he becomes a Superman. I mean, he becomes a superhero. With Steph, it's all that stuff. He was undersized. He grew up. Yes, he grew up in a wealthy family because his dad was a freaking player, but he didn't have scholarship to much. Davidson's nothing. He didn't go to North Carolina or Duke or Kentucky. He was overlooked his whole life, underrated, and now he's Steph freaking Curry. And I think Spider-Man's the best route there. And maybe it's just because I love Spider-Man, but I think
that was a good pick. I think the explanation makes sense for that one.
Yeah, I mean,
you mentioned earlier, he's like, you put him up against someone who's bigger, and he's going to be more nimble and agile and get past them, and that's very much Spider-Man against a bigger opponent.
Yeah, I mean, it's they're like the superhero in the NBA version of David versus Goliath. Like you put them against the biggest and baddest and toughest battles, yet they're going to find different ways to succeed, in ways that they're becoming trailblazers. Like they're making their own path of how to succeed. And yeah, I think that's the best way to answer that. Steph and Spider-Man. That's just it's most of my loves. This is good. You got anything else? I think that's it.
No, that's it.
That was fun. I like doing that. I could do that again. Basketball. Yeah, this is fun. Now I'm about to go get to watch stuff and probably get pissed at life. We'll see. This is fun, man. We got to do more of these. You got to think of some more topics for you. You got to do something music.
Yeah, I don't know what specifically music.
And that's the thing.
Let's just do music in general.
Yeah,
see what happens.
freaking music. Yeah.
I can do that one.
Also, you and Rayleigh got to get in a room together.
I've never seen the man.
You and Rayleigh got to get in a room together and talk. And that right there is a podcast. But yeah, this is fun. I'm about to sweat out a bit. I need 3.5 from Colorado. That's it for this one though. This will go out hopefully tomorrow, and go March Madness, go basketball.